mostly what I'm doing is working on the design methods in upcycling using the textile with textiles and fabrics. So how I start my journey was like I started with me and my mother working on the cut and stitch pattern making. I collected the fabrics from the Surat textile industry, which is like a big textile industry in India. And there you will find a leftover market where you'll find lot of cut pieces. So you can take all the cut pieces. I bought like the cut pieces from there and started to work on the design side of it. The most basic way to use those cut pieces was to apply the patchwork technique, which was very much has been practiced in India and it's a traditional craft. So you will find it in Gujarat and Rajasthan. So it's like a collaboration of working with the local community and uh, and exploring maximum how to use those cut pieces. So this was the first collection series that we did. It's a basic kimono tops where you can just play with the like where we played just with the fabrics and colors, texture. This was my first project that I explored in
Kavisha, are you still
So
there?
when we made those kimono tops, I start to upload on Instagram, social media, where one of the boutique from Hong Kong approached us to present our collection over there. So the left hand side, so the left hand side you see is the one of the boutique from Hong Kong. And the right hand side is like one of the boutique from Macau Vintage Market where we send our clothes. So majorly, I've been exploring towards the surface design in reusing the fabrics. It's where the main focus is on reuse as our design process. Then I start to explore more with the surface, like then I start to play with the fabrics. And when you collect the fabrics, it's like you get like 1 meter, 2 meter of the fabrics, and then figuring out whatever the leftover comes from those design, how to use the smaller pieces of fabrics. So figuring out in a cycle, in a design cycle, where the smaller pieces of fabric can go in a design where the bigger pieces can go. So I start to explore with the textile here. So right hand side we see is the gathering technique that we used for how to use the smaller cut pieces. The center one is where we do the most common quilt, and it involves the basic machine stitch. So it's like how machine, like it's like how machine, just with the machine stitch, just with the tailor community, how we can reuse all the fabrics like. And the very left picture is where uh, we combine through the crochet and fabric. So these are like few of the surface design that I have been exploring. So you will see it's a hand patchwork, slashing technique, machine patchwork. After exploring the surface techniques, then I start to figure how to make it in a cycle. So first we use it as a, we start with a patchwork, then we can use it for the quilt, then it can be used for gathering technique, kind of assembling together. So it's like with our own brand, which I started Patchwork Patch, to figure out how the design cycle will work within the brand. Um, then I got this opportunity in Surat where I was working with 20 of the women for teaching contemporary patchwork that we do. So the project was more focused on using all the cut pieces that we collected locally from Surat and what new we can make from all that fabrics. So that's where we start to build the team in Surat. So this was a start of building the team where I started in Surat. Gradually, I figured that kimono jackets are like a basic square pattern where you can apply the production method in upcycling. So it's like one pattern, but you can work with different kind of colors and patterns. So it's easier, and yet it comes out every product to be unique. So our specialization like got into the making kimono jackets. This is another picture where we work with the hand embroidery in patch in kimono with the kimono jacket. And yeah, the right hand side is the picture of the boutique where it goes in Macau. Then I start to travel the way the pattern that I was figuring with exploring the designs in upcycling and figuring out the production method. I went to Himachal Pradesh, which is the north side of India, and there the idea was the fascination which comes from my side with the kimono jackets, just exploring that side, collecting all the cut pieces locally, like approaching local cut pieces, local fabrics, and then working on them. So we start to work with the community in Sanjwali. We start to develop this kimono jacket collection from there, where we use the wool fabrics to be first time. And this is where we were exploring towards the hand patchwork side of it, where the focus was more on the detailing. How so upcycling in a way shouldn't look like it is upcycle. It should look like how it can be one, like we see in nature. Like we see lot of patches of colors, but it feels like it is merging together. It is like one. So this thought we were trying to uh, translate in our design. Then in Himachal, I went to then in Himachal, I visited Nagar, where we where we meet the stitching and craft community. I'm very fascinated by the tailor shops and the needlework, basically the needlework. So wherever I see the community, I go to them, talk to them about what's the craftsmanship here locally. So we start to approach the people in Nagar, and that's where we start this new project in Nagar. So we started with these kaftans. The inspiration comes from the Kathkuni architecture that we see traditionally here in Himachal. It's like the interlock system where they don't use the nails, and it's yes. So it's like the interlock technique where they don't use the nails. It's the wooden logs just in like interlock with each other. And a lot of our inspiration comes from the architectural elements and uh, the things that we see from the surroundings. So we start to translate those stories in our garments where we panel through hand embroidery that you see in the rust orange kaftan, and lot of we use blanket stitch, kantha stitch to assemble all those pieces that we collected locally from Nagar. Then this is a continuation to our jackets that we do. It's uh, this is where we explore more towards the embroidery kantha side of it, where we uh, it's just the adding the simple basic stitch up, yeah, like the basic kantha stitch and start to explore that the side. Then this was one of the collaboration that we did with an artist based in Nagar, where we were the most the emphasis was on the styling side of those garments that we creating. So we were exploring the styling side of it. The jacket in the center is where we use the crochet embroidery, which has been practiced traditionally in Nagar. So we were figuring out how to include uh, the traditional craft which has been practiced in Nagar. So it's a common ground for us to work on that, and we start to explore that side. And this is a collaboration that we did with the architecture community, which is based in Nagar. They work on building sustainable homes with the local community. So the shoot was done at their one of their special house in at North. It is called North. So this was a collaboration working. This was a collaboration with the creative community. Then it's a nettle fiber. So we saw that in Himachal, the base that comes from the plant, the stem, this stem is being used to make traditional robes. So it's like you peel the stem, then you twist it as a yarn, and you can make different products like bags, rugs, or jackets. So uh, we start to develop some products out of this nettle fiber. Also, we explore towards the eco printing side, where whatever fabrics, like if they are been if it is like some mistake with the printing or something, we can process them for the eco printing, where it is where the leaves where the colors and the process is very natural. It doesn't use any chemical within the process. So whatever the natural colors we can extract from those leaves that we see on the fabric. So uh, we use walnut leaves and rose leaves, some nettle and hemp, which we get here, and it's like more the liquid content of the leaves. It's easier to take out the prints from them onto the fabrics. So this was one of the other experiment that we did. And recently we were talking to one of our artisans, and she was telling that here lot of the women's artisan, craft artisan do the knitting and crochet. So whatever products they are developing for the organization, like toys or hangings or anything, so whatever the threads which are like a leftover, which like it's in a lesser quantity, so that they are not able to make another product. So what they do is they make these little squares, like little tikkies. They call it tikkies. They make these squares, and now these squares can be used anything for like a table mat, or for any jackets, or to make a sweater. So it's kind of way the fascination comes from the story behind the way the artisan was saying that it's again the leftover which comes from the designs that they develop. So we going to use for our next collection. We'll be making jackets and uh, tops, where our specialization is. These are some of the features that we got on Platform Magazine and Mail Today India. Then some more products that we develop out of the cut pieces that we collected, and it's like a zero waste cycle. So whatever the fabrics coming out from one design, we make sure to use to other design, and then whatever the leftover come from second design, we make sure to use it to the third design. It's like a cycle and creating a series out of it. Yes, so it's more towards the uh, design methods that I can incorporate while reusing as a process.